So
Yes.
I'm glad to know that you are alive and safe.
Well, what they say about the devil.
He's burned out and needs to take a break.
Oh no, speak of him and all that good stuff. But yeah, running a little bit behind. Yesterday was a very eventful day, and today I was attempting to make sure it was as quiet as possible. As perfectly, abnormally, unproblematically quiet as possible.
Did you succeed?
I believe that considering there haven't been any fires and I haven't gotten summoned by the owner, that it worked out. I don't know if anyone's aware, but yesterday in Illinois there were elections, midterm elections for us, for quite a few of local politicians and various others. So, the owner, his daughter, works for some particular campaign and decided that, dear old dad and the location I'm at would host the campaign watch the polls and all of that at
Joy.
close. So we were already having a relatively slow day and working towards cleaning everything up, doing a deep clean to hide the loss of labor.
Right.
They decided that 60 people would be in our facility after public operating hours, and we were supposed to cater to them as best as possible while still getting the hell out of Dodge for the next shift. In the course of doing so, there was a small error. A small error with what we were preparing for them. Not that they didn't ask for additional assistance and work anyway, but all the same, there was one small minor error. And so the owner's daughter, as I'm double checking all of our tasks were done, all of the team's daily tasks, all of that was done, completed, and taking valuable time out of my own life to make sure that in the next day, the next shift, that there wouldn't be any problems, even with the 60 people who decided to just show up out of the clear blue and get it in the fucking way. As I'm wrapping up and I'm feet from clocking out, she said, there's things missing. Is there anything in the back? Now, mind you, I'm feet from clocking out. I say, okay, sure. I know that there's nothing back there. I'm sorry if there's anything missing, but we don't have anyone on this shift able to assist you. It's like, well, you're here. I was like, but there's nothing in the back. If you would like, even though I know there's nothing in the back, I will escort you so that you can inspect with your own eyes. She says, sure, that'll be helpful. So I escort her to the back. I show her around. I make sure that she's careful to watch her step and, remain as safe as possible, even though she's a non-employee in an employee area. She sees that there's nothing there. She turns to me and she says, and I start walking away so that she wouldn't do what I was expecting her to do, to give her the hint, it's time to go, you do what you do, whatever is not on me is on the next shift and the owner. As I clock out, grab my nice energy drink for the drive home, she says, but could you, I politely say, no, you just saw me clock out. I am officially off the clock. So I was expecting a shitstorm, but it's been all quiet on the Western Front, so,
That's good.
Well handled.
Yeah, but I don't trust people. I was expecting a minor blow up because, I know how I am with my kids, and I know that even when they're wrong, I'll defend them. So I was expecting a shitstorm. I didn't get one, so I'm fairly happy with that. Of course, they could just be biding their time, but we shall see. All the same, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm glad that you guys are here. And we get to dive into all of these wonderful moments for these characters. Do we have any questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or corners we need to round off?
Gonna die.
I believe that's another coterie of characters. I think they're in Walkerton, or they might be in Thornton Township. But yeah, I think that's another notable coterie in the Chicagoland area that's actually in the middle of expiring.
Ah, gotta love those bloodhounds.
So, just to be clear, are all of our coteries just in a life or death situation right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yes. Socially, physically, and spiritually, yes. Yes. All of them are in a very tense situation. Two of the coteries are only in as dire straits as they are because of careless actions. If that helps. So, it's not completely their fault, but it is the consequent actions taken.
I'm assuming we are one of those coteries.
See, you just need me to come and save you. That's all.
It'll be fine. What's the worst that can happen? It's not like you all, I don't know, I got into a physical altercation with the sheriff, which is the manifestation of the prince's will. It's not as if, you have a history of stealing a Primogen's vehicle, their property. It's not as if you guys have a mythos of destroying elder respected and statist kindred. And it's not, and most importantly, it's not like the direct actions of the coterie led to the exsanguination of a handful plus of notable kindred personas. As long as none of that happened, you guys should be fine.
I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't part of any of that.
I was just trying to save some people.
I would like the record to show that we did not know it was Critias' limo.
Which time?
And he has no idea it was us. We
which time?
are not responsible for any damages.
And again, which time?
Wait, was there another time we stole
Yes,
it?
you guys did it twice.
Wait, we did it twice?
Yes.
I only remember the one time. Wait, was I not here for the second time?
No, you were
You
here.
rapscallions.
No, you were here. You were here. But yeah, no, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. You guys didn't, ignorance is an excuse of the law, after all, right?
See, the courteous thing doesn't really matter because he likes Lucio a whole lot, so he'll forgive it.
For Lucio. What?
Right, for Lucio. Not for us.
I know your friends are trouble. I know. So here, you stand right over here. It's out of the splash zone.
Trust me, it's for your own good.
So, no questions. We know where everyone is. There were the calls, the texts, and the planning for what comes next. It's kind of funny overall that the coterie, for all of their daring the impossible, by doing the unexpected, by rising to every occurrence, for them, with the rest of forever stretched out before them, time is always of the essence. So the decision as to where they will alight and what they will do to mount their affirmative defense is a very time-sensitive issue. And so, with that thought in mind, and with the honorable, established players and characters of this coterie, and with all of my many heartfelt thanks, I'd like to say that this is officially Soup City Sing, Season 15, Episode 5. The comedic errors of 6 men named Eddie and Dick. With the 3 members of the coterie speeding towards whatever destination they have in mind, and with Sophia lounging in the splendor and comfort of their abode, with the request for assistance sitting there before them, with the need for action weighing on their minds and state of beings, what is it that the coterie is actually about at this moment?
So, as I recall, last time we left off with Hestia, Lucy, and Miriam in the getaway car, leaving the university, debating whether we would accept Sophia's deal.
Yes. Though the words said were considerably of a mostly affirmative leaning. There hasn't been a full direct, yes, we will do this, but there's definitely the feeling that in this particular storm, the safest port is one that you know. So what is it that you all are doing? Are you going to alight? Are you going to head to Sophia's abode? Or are you going to continue to yet another secret haven of Hestia?
Lucio... Actually, who was it last time that received the call? It was Miriam, correct?
It was.
Okay. So Lucio will direct this question at Miriam. When you were speaking with Sophia, did she say we had to meet her directly? Did we have to go to her haven? Or did we just have to at least give her a yes for now?
It was a little ambiguous, but I think a yes or no was the general implication. The rest could be decided later.
Yeah, it was a more of a, do you wish for me to intervene on your behalf? Yes or no? Or do you wish to fuck off and find out or something like that? It's, you know, that kind of thing.
More or less.
As much as I don't like playing into her plans any more than we already have, it might be our best bet for the moment. Because aside from just saying fuck it and leaving for Dalton, we don't have a lot of options. So I'm of a mind to agree the terms, to agree to whatever she needs. At least we have one ally.
Okay. Well, I guess we're heading in that way then.
Alrighty.
We should probably call her back and let her know that we don't drive around into the heart of the city needlessly.
Do we want to text her back right now, or do we want to hunker down and text her? Or how would you like to do this?
Just call her back and say yes now, and then we'll get rid of or shut off the phone so we can't interact with them any further.
And for now, just Hestia, at least drive towards your other haven so that if whatever happens, we're at least not in one spot where we can be easily found.
Okay. And then Hestia puts the car in gear.
Okay. I will call my friend number.
Almost as soon as the call is ended, Sophia, another reaches you. Same number.
Awesome. I am home alone, so I will answer it.
The pause is nearly deafening, but it is clear that it is the other members of your coterie. And you can hear the sounds of a car moving, and you hear the pregnant pause that fills the air.
Yes.
On speaker.
I didn't realize you were on speaker.
I will hang up, I guess. No one's there.
Sophia, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
From my understanding, you were calling in. Perhaps someone else should say something.
Oh, I forgot that he does the thing with the phone thing. Okay, basically what's happening is, you're right, we need help. Do you want us to come to you tonight, or should we try to find another place to bed down and then come to you tomorrow?
It's up to you. It makes no difference to me. If you have safe place to stay for tonight, then that is fine.
The thing is, I can't guarantee that it is. We need to make a choice.
I need to make a choice.
No, I said we need to make a choice, not you. I'm hoping for some guidance as to which would be best. Things how I can't guarantee that the safe place would be all that safe.
Well, considering my place has been shot up tonight, I cannot necessarily say that it is safe here either, but it should be safe from those who are chasing you.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's already been shot up once tonight. You know, what's the chance of it happening again? I guess we're on our way.
There's a fair point.
As you've made that left-hand turn off of Stony and are heading east, you make another left-hand turn and begin heading back north, taking South Shore up to Lakeshore Drive. Now, while normally the expressways, without a shadow of a doubt, are like rolling dice, it is literally taking your chance on the roulette wheel, not simply because of the supernatural denizens of the city, but there is without a shadow of a doubt that navigating the expressways in Chicago, not just the city itself, but in all of its outlying areas, is 100% a contact sport. And while Lakeshore Drive is not officially an expressway, it is not a highway, it's not that sort of roadway. Locally, it very much is just that. It is the locals' idea of the Autobahn. If you are doing anything less than 60 miles an hour, you might as well be standing still. The only good thing about this portion of Lakeshore Drive, this portion of 41, is that there aren't any 16-wheelers. There's no big rigs. There's no trucks. At least there's not supposed to be. Everyone occasionally takes their chances, and some people would do it honestly, accidentally. Others know that they can make it the mile and a half, 2 miles, 3 or 5 even, to get on and get off closer to their destination, especially in and around the Hyde Park area. That's one of the many reasons why it is typically avoided, because, well, buses still can take Lakeshore Drive. Buses don't quantify as trucks, but they're just as plotting, just as dangerous if the driver is not paying the utmost consideration to care. All the same, if you are trying to make it from nearly 7100 south all the way to 5600 North or just thereabouts, yeah, it is the only way to fly. It is the best way and fastest way to avoid most of the plotting, slow, red light cameras, speed traps, police, and otherwise that play havoc with driving through the neighborhoods, taking the non-rapid roadways. It doesn't make it any safer. It just makes certain obstacles far less common. So, would you be so kind as to roll Heshia's composure and drive? As getting on Lakeshore Drive, getting on 41 at this location is 100% nerve-rattling, because as you move from South Shore Drive onto Lakeshore Drive specifically, you go from almost suburban like speed to instantaneously having to press the gas pedal through the bottom of your car's floor. There is no time to wait. There's no time for hesitation. You must be thinking 5, 6, and 10 cars ahead of where you are. After the superheroism of your earlier adventures with Genghis, after the trials and tribulations of dealing with kindred society and knowing what exists in your backseat, what exists in that box in Lucio's possession, what is bouncing around the car with you, well, failure would be appreciable. Unfortunately, you don't fail. You manage to avoid the near side panel to side panel merging. You manage to avoid the pothole which will swallow your car whole. You manage to not fall for the brake checking of the vehicle in front of you. You manage to avoid the speed trap as you're edging past the museum, the field museum. You are a wonder of careful, considerate driving and moving your coterie members from where they are halfway to where you all need to be before the city, before the travelers of our roadways decide to make an attempt on your life. Not because of any pure malice, not because they know who you are, not because they care what you might be, but simply because you happen to be in the way of them getting 5 feet further from where they currently are. The sound of bumpers rubbing vigorously is not one that anyone appreciates when behind the wheel of a car. The muffled curses and screams from the driver behind you as they try applying brakes about 5 seconds too late does nothing to unjangle the nerves. And Lucio and Miriam, driving on the expressways and roadways of Chicago sucks absolute ass as you all are bombarded and jangled and moved and nudged, and this time it's not because of some careless child who has the rest of forever. It is literally someone who is heading to their first shift job, only half awake, chugging 2 energy drinks at once while trying to merge into the space just in front of your front bumper through your car. What is it that you guys are doing?
Lucio has the box secured firmly in his lap because there is a not so small amount of paranoia that this thing falling out or anything will somehow spell the death of them. And he is at least wanting to mitigate that risk. He also does feel some way about what's inside of it. So he would like to keep it as safe and secure as possible. And
somewhere on the other side of the veil, somewhere on the other side of the shroud, somewhere deep in the lands of the dead and never have lived, Wojciech Castiglione busts a gut laughing, dies from the humor of it all, the mutually assured destruction that he had planned for, and all of the chaos that he hoped to foment being safeguarded by the person whose that blade is turned against. There's some strange poetry there. You can almost hear the rhyme in it all. And as the car slides into the next lane, as your back bumper clearly will not play the violin again, and as Miriam is caught unawares as to just how full contact driving in Chicago is, considering she is a relatively safe driver and avoids the expressways like the plague. What is it
Right.
that Hestia doing currently?
About how far is it from where we are to where we need to go to get to Sophia's? Like, is there a way that she could kind of pull out of this and keep going, or are we fucked?
Oh, you're fucked, but you can still keep going. As long as the car is able to move, you can keep going. The problem here is, well, the more damaged your car is, the more likely it is that the police will decide to pay a little more attention. Decide to, maybe the car isn't really safe for the roadways after all. Maybe they're up to no good and are driving a stolen vehicle. Maybe. And therein lies the actual risk of it all. Therein lies the actual trouble of it all.
And if we stop, then they're gonna see our face or whatever else. Want to exchange information or whatever have you. Crap. We're gonna transit and get a little bit further down the road, hopefully. If anything else happens, then they're gonna either have to switch cars or walk it, but she's gonna keep going. To kind of pull out of it and cut around them and keep going.
Yeah, that's right. That's the best idea. Screw that guy. How dare he? And would you be so kind to go ahead and roll your dexterity and drive? Your DC is 2. Because he is, despite all of the reckless, careless, selfish ideologies that cause the initial bumping and collision of the vehicles, is attempting to slow traffic down to get to the shoulder. Is attempting to exchange insurance information, is attempting to flag you all to follow him even though he is behind you, and you peel out as if your lives depend on it, leaving him to hold up traffic as he's caught a little bit unawares that is even a possibility. And he's caught a little unawares that after an accident there's not some exchanging of fisticuffs and insurance information. He's caught a little unawares that, hey, you can fucking do that. And with all due paranoia, covering the next 35 blocks, with all due paranoia, it is with an unknown exhalation that you all find yourselves finally merging off of Lakeshore Drive onto Sheridan so that you can make it to Sophia's condo. You all happen to be arriving at the exact same time as Silvio, who's returned with a box laden with things. And with his size, while it looks like a small box from a distance, the closer you all get to him, you realize it is not a box. It's a steamer chest. It's a captain's chest. And it is clearly based on how the suit jacket is massaging his biceps and forearms, laden with things that have some significant weight to them. So as you all enter Sophia's condo, Sophia's home, Sophia's castle in the sky, what is it that is transpiring?
So, do I leave the box here or bring it up?
As we're coming in, Lucio, Lucio's gonna lean in towards Silvio. You know you typically keep a space for things that need to be kept safe, so we're going to bring this box inside, okay?
Yeah, sure thing.
And Lucio will grab the box and bring it with him.
The box sounds so ominous. But as your FedEx box is in comparison size-wise of the two, the steamer trunk definitely seems more ominous. One, because it's not something that you see every day. Two, the fact that it's heavy enough to cause someone of Silvio's size some discomfiture in carrying it. There could be everything inside, including and not limited to a human body. Yet, from experience, you know that the smaller, neatly packed FedEx box holds a key to the devastation of much of the world around you. There's a before and an after when dealing with the lodestone. You are clearly in the after portion. You've survived it once. The chances of doing so again, well, it's anyone's guess. Now, speaking of anyone's guess, here's the problem with being a member of the Hakata. Here's a problem with being a necromancer of a necromancer of a necromancer of a necromancer, a family going back to the literal Dark Ages, having dealt with, interacted with, commanded, controlled, subjugated, and coerced the damned. Power whispers, and your family, your blood has learned to listen to those whispers as if all of the world depends on understanding, as if, being as you can't stop dangerous things from existing, that all of the aims to keep the world spinning depend on owning it, on mastering it, on subjugating those dangerous things to your will. And as Arsenio walks through the door with the steamer trunk of all of the necessary things you might need, so too does the coterie arrive. And there's that cool, unexpected breeze across the skin that causes the hairs of the nape and neck to stand on end, to cause the spirits, the souls bound to this place, to
Well, that definitely has her attention. So she will turn and regard everyone coming in, putting down her Capri Sun box.
scenes at the dawn left us a present in case he was killed.
That is an interesting tactic. What did he leave you?
Magical time bomb, claymore, lupine lore, some of all of that.
So that is what I sense then.
It needs to be kept somewhere reasonably secure. It's in a box of its own, but the box is not quite sealed and it's leaking, so do with that as you will.
I can see where that might be a problem. Silvio, do we have something? A safe, perhaps? Something with lead?
Well, the safe room is a natural Faraday cage. It should help.
Perhaps we put in there for now then.
May I?
May you what?
He put motions toward the box that Lucio was holding, very gingerly, yet somehow far more firm than he's held most things that you've ever seen him in possession of.
Well, that would be up to our guests, but I admit that I would also like to take a look. At that point, she will stupidly switch her sight to the Fetter sight, because I'm sure this thing is going to blind her.
There's no need to even make a roll. Staring at the FedEx box, which is literally someone wrapped the sun in plastic wrap to keep it safe. Not even bubble wrap, literally just plastic wrap to keep it safe. The heat doesn't kill you instantaneously, though there is the after image of just the sheer wattage of what is inside that FedEx box. The space around it is literally a moving hole into the soul of oblivion. It is the very essence of all that has never existed and all the things that have no longer existed. It is a piece, a physical manifestation of the other side of the shroud, of the other side of the veil. And Lucio's holding it as if it is a family heirloom.
Despite her normally reserved and composed demeanor, she will gasp slightly. Very quickly, trying to, it leaks out. She's trying not to. But.
Castillo smirks because she knows it. She's felt that power before, both directly and indirectly. And there's even though she doesn't quite get along with Sophia most of the time, it's a real recognizing real. So this situation, yeah, I know you feel that. Smirks and goes, powerful, yes. Very, very powerful.
She will make her slow way, slow way towards them to get a better look when Silvio takes his look.
She is trying to, I guess, coax it out of Lucio's hands because she's reading the apprehension about giving it up.
Oh yeah, he is clearly lost in a serious consideration as to what to do with the very real weapon sitting in his hand. It's hard to not view it as a danger, not just to the coterie, but to the world as a whole. This is a mega ton engine of destruction and a handy dandy carrying case.
May I?
What do you intend to do?
To look at it? To discern what it is and what it is capable of? I'm not going to whisk you all into a whirling vortex of blood and pain, if that's what you're thinking.
So as Sophia says that, the memories that bombard them, both Hestia and Lucio, they know are not their memories. However, it is 100% palpable. You remember sitting in the back of the van. You remember Dizzy's smile. You remember how easy it was to actually make it away, considering what it was that you all are carrying. You remember the sounds of the lupines out there in the distance, and you knew why you avoided taking that left into Walkerton and taking the extra time to go north towards the lake to throw them off your trail. You remember all of the moments before where you, as a family, as a coterie, outwitted, outsmarted, outplayed those who sought to use you all as disposable. You managed to turn what everyone else considered a weakness into your strength. And it was because you all were operating together. Damn the rules, damn all of the stuffy, elitist, grounded kindred who lived and existed only in one space throughout the course of the entirety of their immortality. When you had the entirety of the road ahead of you, wherever the road led, you could be. Your rules were clear. No more than 60 miles a night. No more than an hour on any particular expressway. No, the rules that kept you all safe and free. And then this thing, ruining the wheels of the van, stranding you in a city in the middle of nowhere that doesn't exist but did. The sound of the lupines and the trust and faith that you all working together would find your way out. And as those feelings wash over you all, realizing what it is, what the lodestone was, how it tied into everything that happened before and everything that happened after, and here it is once more in your possession. The thing that caused your deaths. But it wasn't your deaths, even though you felt them. You felt what it's like to die. And the reason why you would be willing to sacrifice all of your immortality for the kindred to your left and the kindred to your right. And there it is, once more in all of its glory.
Believe me when I say that's very much a possibility with this thing, but considering how things have been going lately, fuck it. Lucio sets the box down and opens it up.
You know that would only make me want to look at it more, right?
I figured. You seem the type.
And the box, for all of its shoddy spiritual craftsmanship, is physically a work of art. There are holes in the protections that it provides for the box, either incidentally done or purposefully created so that it would vent some of the darker energies of the stone. You are literally looking at a piece of history that has long been forgotten or chalked up to myth. You are looking at a piece of the first city. Now, the kindred hold a different definition as to what that means, but no, this is in truth actually the first city. This is the first congregation of mankind working together against the dark, in service to the dark, in service to a being who, with their childish immaturity, was willing to stand against the demiurge, and was willing to stand against the creator of all things, whatever that being, whatever that essence was, is, and could be. They were willing to tell it to go fuck itself. And this stone is a piece of that very real consequence of thought. That first city, that first place, that first congregation of mankind, stating that they were separate to and above the laws of the animal kingdom. No longer would they hide in caves or in forests or climb trees to sleep for a few hours at a time. No, they would work together to keep the dark at bay.
Sophia will adjust her skirt so that she can kneel down on the floor and closes her eyes like she's breathing in a warm apple pie as she looks at this thing. And after a moment, she will look back at the others and go, Do you know what this is?
Yes.
And you carry it in FedEx box.
We didn't put it in the FedEx box. Bullshit put it in the FedEx box and left it at the fucking hospital. Like I said, he had a backup plan.
There are many things that can be done with this.
I will confess, I've thought about some of those things.
Well, for right now, what should be done with it should be put away in the Faraday cage and not touched for a while. Because the more you interact with it, the more it fucking affects you. Or did we forget that from last time?
No, I very much remember.
That is the nature of death magic.
And right in that moment, the very difference between how others look at death, look at the cycle of the difference between life and death. How some kindred will say they are unalive and other kindred will say they are undead. That same issues with death presents itself. Because for those who traffic, who truly understand and deal with oblivion, those necromancers and masters of what comes next, understand that there is no difference between life and death. They are part of the same exact cycle. They are part of the same infinite line. And fearing death, you might as well fear life, because they are both the same thing. And that difference in philosophy, that difference in thought and paths of thought presents itself because for Sophia, staring at the lodestone, there is a flickering, shimmering essence that holds the eye and attracts the attention. For Hestia and Lucio and Miriam, that cool yet somehow surprisingly warm stone feels all too alive. It feels as if you take your eye off of it, it will leap onto your face and plant itself in your soul. It is the combined weight of the end of all things sitting there. It is dangerous. There's nothing beautiful about it, even though it is well formed and well carved and created to be absolutely perfect. It is dangerous.
Looking to Sophia, Lucia will say, I know you want to use this. I can already see it.
Why would I not?
My question is, to what end?
Watching the two interact, Estia will very carefully step forward, close the top on the box, lift it, hand it to Silvio, if you please.
As you close the top, it is hard to not see that the stone moves towards you when you close the lid. You don't feel it moving, but you are sure that it literally slid that fraction of an inch closer to you as you close the lid on the box.
It wants to be with me. Anyway, she'll, after staring at it for a moment, internally saying it wants to be with me, she will look to Lucio and say, perhaps to use against Mama Hugo, but there's probably not enough time to research how, and it's very limited. A matter of days to deal with that problem.
Well, Mama, who now?
Who now?
You remember your friend Hugo?
Uh-huh.
And you remember Mama Cass?
Yes.
And they are one and the same.
What?
Oh, shit. Hey, okay,
Is
so
this-
last time I saw her, she was bleeding out on the floor of the church.
I believe this
before
was believe this was part of her plan all along.
So she knew Wochik would sacrifice her.
She probably planned on it. Probably pushed him in a way to make sure it would happen.
And we
That was
played
a
right
very
into it.
dangerous game for her, but it seems to have worked out.
Does not seem the type of magic that you could pull off the cuff. Seems like something that would have to be prepared for, a ritual, some sort of sacrifice.
And knowing that we need to be rid of him almost as much as she did, we played right fucking into it and killed him for her.
Is still improvement.
That's the superficial thought of everyone who doesn't know the things that Mama Cass has gotten up to. In the grand scheme of things, it is a small measure, small step, but taking one's hand against one's family by blood and by choice is a interesting thing. And has just the weeks leading up to having met Lucio the first time, the person that was the initiator and instigator for Arsenio preparing to portray the Castiglione Tories, the twin living sister of Mama Cass, comes to mind. Not for the first time in these last few weeks, but how dastardly and planned and devious she had been, then magnified with the promise of forever. You've never told anybody the true details of what happened, except for Arsenio.
She looks at the rest of them. Say that, but you don't know her like I know her. She had a run-in years ago. Quite accidentally, mind you, but yeah. Her own sister. Tried to kill her because of what she knew. And I saved her life. That woman's always been playing chess while others are playing checkers. So I don't discount anything that she might have planned up until now and might still be planning. I just didn't realize.
Well, come, sit. Have some blood. I can recommend the fireman. It's very good.
Yes, I see your dealer is rather well known in the circulatory system.
It's not my dealer, but that is a thing we need to talk about. So come, get comfortable.
Estia moves to go sit, but then she turns to watch Silvio to see if Silvio has indeed gone to take the box towards wherever the room he was going.
The space where Silvio was is empty. There's nothing so unnerving. It was problematic with Arsenio, but Arsenio hasn't had the years of practice of moving with the power of the damned in his system. However, Silvio has, and it shows because he was standing right there. And as large of a person as he was, there should have been an inhalation of the room with wind or something to notify his absence. Yet there's just an empty space. Not even the sound of his footfalls over the floor. Just gone.
Shaking her head because fucking jingle bells, I swear. Goes to sit, and then thinking of that also reminds her of the fact. Shit.
What?
Now that we've killed Wojcik and Mama Cass Hugo exists, there's still people missing. Arsenio, we were supposed to get him back.
Arsenio will be fine.
Arsenio and my sisters.
I was getting into that, yes. We have to get your sisters back too, but Silvio, Arsenio.
I don't know anything about your sisters per se, but I do know that Arsenio she has plans for. He is fine for now.
I know where my sisters are, so at the very least if I ever get a chance, I can at least go find them. Arsenio, I don't know where he is.
There's also the fact that even though I didn't care whether she lived or died, and would have probably killed her on my own if I was allowed to before, they have Vivi now. They can use her against us. You know how good Critias is at torturing things out of people. You know how good Tremere are bringing somebody near undeath again and getting what they want out of them.
What does she know?
Everything.
She knows
was with
that
us for so long.
You know her relation to me, yes? We told you of this?
We did. Does she know?
Yes.
That is problematic for you.
She also knows the deal I made and she made with Blakeney.
That is problematic for Blakeney.
And for us.
It all seems, don't get me wrong, it's very bad for me, but it's not the most pressing problem.
And what is the most pressing problem? Because right now there's a lot of problems.
Are you familiar with the Shadow Kings?
I remember Simone mentioned something about it, and I think I looked a little bit into it myself at one point, but the hound duties started picking up around that time, fortunately.
Estia, hearing that name, starts rubbing her temples and groans.
Sophia will sit down and pour herself another wine glass of blood.
Too quiet. I knew it was too quiet. Oh, they're back, aren't they?
I met one this evening. He was very concerned about what would come out now that Wolseek was dead. Apparently, Wolseek had spent quite a bit of time compiling information on them.
Do you have one eye?
One eye? What are you talking about?
Well, I
Well,
guess not that one then.
not yeah. One of them is called the One-Eyed King. I have my suspicions as to who that particular one is, but so it wasn't the One-Eyed King. It was another of the Shadow Kings, meaning there are multiple of them.
Did he give you a name?
His name was Al.
She looks at Lucio.
He apparently was part of the family before he was embraced. Then he was embraced as the family, which is a whole multitude of problems in and of itself. It's very unusual that that happens, but in this case it did. He shot Silvio. He was not very happy about that, but he did provide us with all this blood, so...
So you mean to tell me that the famous criminal bootlegger, general nuisance to the law, Al Capone, stopped by your place and is still alive, mind you?
Oh,
And
that
he's-
checks out. He did not say Capone, but I guess, yeah, like the movies, he was sort of built that way. I can see that, yes.
Holy shit.
Miriam will hold up her finger and pull out her sketchbook and do a quick sketch from the little scene that she had in the shelter the first night there with what's her name? and Capone having their conversation. It's like, did he look like this?
I assume that he did.
That is an actual perfect sketch, as if she was in the same room with you when he was there.
That looked like him, down to the cigar and everything.
Like, yeah, that is Mr. Capone himself.
Oh, that is interesting. It makes sense why he shot Silvio. Brought lots of muscle with him. I was kind of flattered.
Is also the reason that I have the favor for having children such as I'm sure
He is,
could
yes.
explain why that is.
He did touch on it a little, yes.
Lovely.
The most important part of what he had to impart to me, however, was that he was being blackmailed. And he had a week to come through on his end. And if he comes through on his end, that is very bad for everyone.
Blackmailed by who?
Mama Hugo.
Did he explain to what end?
She would like to be re-embraced.
You mean she's not kindred anymore?
She is a kindred soul stuffed in a ghoul's body.
Huh.
It is very unfortunate. Had you have come back with me, we probably could have taken her out right then. But that is neither here or there at this point. Missed opportunities are not worth being dwelt upon.
Who says we won't have the opportunity again?
This is my thought. She has to move. She wishes to be dead again by the end of the week. I would like to fulfill her promise, but in a different way.
You called us here to fulfill a boon for you, correct?
For the Hakata, yes, not for me. Though on that matter, if this is successful, you escape with your own lives, obviously I have done you a favor. And before you think that route, no, I will not call it in to take the shelter from you.
Well, thank you. I'll confess, I'm no master plotter, no great forward-thinking genius, but I imagine there has to be some way that we can fulfill this boon, as it were, that would, put us at an advantage as well over Mama Hugo.
Quite possibly, but right now that the boon exists at all is your advantage.
Explain.
There's leverage I can use on your court to keep you alive. You owe the Hakata. If they were to come and take you, they would be interfering with Hakata business. It's very spirit of the law and not letter of the law. It would, in a lot of ways, it would honor bound them to either take up your boon or to let it play out. And as they probably do not want to take up your boon,
That's a fair point. It's actually a very good point.
there is always the possibility the prince could come down and kill you all and kill me as well, and he is the prince and no one could stop him, but there would be repercussions.
Somehow I don't take Jackson to be that kind of person.
That is the wonderful thing with dealing with the Blue Bloods. They are very beholden to honor. They may shit upon it, they may bend it into some sort of unrecognizable form, but they will not break it.
Once there's a break in the conversation, Mary would be like, can we go back to that blackmail thing and revisit that real quick?
Certainly, and he's not done with the subject. We've been sidetracked. I would not bring it up if it were not important. If you know anything about me, certainly it is that.
So what do we know about this blackmail thing?
What we know is that apparently there are many secrets about the Shadow Kings that are going to come to light. Secrets that Wosik had compiled. You know, we have many servants who cannot be seen. And we get a lot of dirt on everyone. And you have a big enough network, say if you were the head of the clan in the city and everyone else did your bidding, you could build up quite a bit of information in quite a small amount of time. And he appears to have done that on some people who would rather not be known at all. And now that it's going to come all to light, it threatens to tear the city apart. And all she wants in return is a sire. He did make good point that if Wolseyk had stayed in charge, he would be busy bragging about how large his penis was and womanizing, and probably would have never done anything with the information. But now that the spider has eaten the fly,
Doesn't necessarily mean that the information is out of play.
it doesn't. But if we make sure the cork is sealed, then it does not come out of the bottle. There are only two ways to deal with the blackmailer: pay them or kill them.
The adage, two can keep a secret if one is dead.
Exactly.
You mentioned that he was collecting and that Wojcik was collecting information, yes?
He was, as is our clan's way.
Miriam, you have that USB, right?
I have a USB and another USB, another one.
Do you think that's the information?
Miriam will let out a big sigh. It's possible that's what they were trying to leave for us. Or not necessarily leave for us, but hide to ruin everything later.
Wait. You said Mama Cass is in Hugo's body. Hugo is considered mostly human, but he's a ghoul. Right?
It's true.
So he wouldn't set off my wards.
I do not, I'm not familiar with your wards, but if being a kindred is a condition, then no.
Miriam, you told me you felt like somebody was in the room. Or had been in the room. Hugo's
Still
pretty good with computers.
When were you there?
We went to the shelter right after we left the church. The church
Right.
was close enough to the shelter. They weren't there by the time we got there, but nobody knows really about that room except for very few people.
And ghosts.
Hugo came here first.
And spirits knew about that room and who talks to spirits. Especially Hugo.
It is even theoretically possible that I could force her out of Hugo or bind her to something, but I'm sure she has foreseen that and taken precautions to prevent it.
She did mention she had some foresight ability. Or
She
rather,
does, and this is why I wonder if perhaps this is why the lodestone has come to your
So
possession.
What do you mean?
You said Wolseyk sent it to you, correct?
Yes.
Perhaps it was a contingency plan of his.
Against her?
Perhaps. Unfortunately, there is not time to research how to use it properly against her.
There may be someone who has an idea. There was a note left with the stone.
Yeah, a name.
Unless it is something that can be solved before sunup, I do not think that it is necessarily wise to waste much time on it.
Storyteller, what was the name? Because I had a lot of trouble pronouncing it.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about,
The Montesquieu.
yes, the Mestersky. Rikma, the Voivod of the North. The kindred who you all had the, well, not Lucio, but actually had the opportunity to appreciate some of his artistic pursuits at the Empyrean party hosted by Brad Stryker. Which, as you all think about it now, months after it's already happened, the fact that you all weren't invited to this year's Empyrean Ball is interesting.
Wasn't that supposed to be the first ever one, and then it failed horribly?
Well, as any good publicist will tell you, all publicity is good publicity. Especially as at that party, Brett Stryker gave a speech rousing enough to begin swaying public opinion against Urzuli towards his particular views. At that party, he was able to all but declare war against his sire and Primogen. At that party, you all attacked and tried to kill a Primogen.
We did not. Not all of us, at least.
Nope. Only 2 of us are left from that point.
Yeah, but the name persists. Which means you've inherited all of that lovely reputation, Miriam. The shelter and all of their many impossible feats accomplished. It comes with its many downsides, as well as some of its upsides.
Yay.
Now, the question before you all, with the lodestone being safely ensconced in the clean room inside the Faraday cage that is the safe room here at Sophia's Haven, you all only realize that it has actually been placed there safely because Silvio has managed to have a glass of blood for each of you. You didn't realize that he had been serving this whole entire time. He was silent, almost invisible in the way that he was maneuvering, so that there's a glass at hand for each of you all to take a sip of.
I will look up at him and smile appreciatively. We should probably get the computer out of the car.
I should probably reach out to your superiors.
We should probably figure out what our next steps are.
Including getting rid of the car. Because Angus saw us in it, and there was that whole thing on the highway. It's barely running.
As far as priorities, obviously your priority is to not be killed. But behind that should be the Mama Hugo issue, not because it is a Sophia issue, but because from what this Mr. Capone, as you say, has told me, that if the information she releases comes to light, Jackson will probably lose his throne. The city will be plunged into war. And in the meantime, Mama Hugo will become more powerful.
Then we need to make plans to take her down.
We do indeed. Or to somehow placate her.
I don't think that would be a good idea.
You said you might be able to pull the spirit out of the body? Should I or
It's a thing that I can do. I can compel it out, can bind it to something, to someone. But she was also a necromancer. I'm sure she has foreseen that she would be at odds with others of the clan and that she should set measures in place to prevent such a thing from happening.
like a brand or a tattoo?
No, something probably more mystical. Though, I do not know the nature of the ritual she has enacted to do this, so perhaps it will not rule it out. Though if it were sigils that we commonly use, I would recognize them. I do speak a number of languages.
I have to wonder, and maybe it's not relevant, but how exactly did she become so powerful so quickly? As far as I'm aware, she has been a kindred for less time than I have been. And yet, she's apparently had all these plans in place for some time.
You've answered your own question. I do not know her background. I know she comes from the Giovanni line, which was once the parent line of our clan. I know myself from the time that I was born, I was groomed to become what I am. Perhaps it was the same with her.
I thought the Cappadocians were your parent clan.
If you go back far enough, but that is ancient history.
Fair enough. And I guess not relevant right now.
My line is descended, my personal line is descended from Cappadocians, but it is no longer the badge of honor it was.
She knew what he was years ago. Remember what I said about the whole 10 years ago thing?
Yes.
The whole reason she was attempting to murder her sister is to keep kindred secrets from, I guess, getting out, and their family secrets from getting out. So it's feasible that even if she wasn't kindred, or he wasn't kindred back then. I don't remember whether the Dawn was still alive and around, but I have a feeling right before he went to jail, quote unquote, that all thing happened, but they were both seemingly human back then, and she was already planning things, and they were both already planning.
These things do not, for all her smarts, for all the things that I have accomplished, sometimes these things are not ours to claim. Our clan is very, very close-knit, much as your clan was at one time, Hestia, where there is a ruling body who decides and pulls the strings of all the little worker ants as they run about. And for all of her accomplishments and all of my accomplishments, at the end of the day, to them, we are still worker ants. It is possible that she is acting alone, but it is more likely that she is having her strings pulled by someone else.
We're on a timeline here. A week to figure all this out and a week to put an end to it.
Yes, so the strings do not matter. I just mentioned them in the abstract.
Well, push comes to shove, you know what kills everything? Magic or not? Fire. Fire kills everything, magic or not.
What are you suggesting? Another Great Chicago fire?
Not that scale, mind you, but perhaps.
It could be the only way to be sure.
Exactly.
I'll speak more plainly to you than I have in the past. Hopefully you will appreciate it. Right now, the Hakata you're looking at, either Mama Hugo or this Al Capone sits on the throne. Neither one is likely to be easy to get along. I need to get alone. I need to get hold of my own patrons and see what they wish me to do in light of these new developments. That is certain we must stop Mama Cass, Hugo, whoever they are this week from ascending the throne. It would be bad for everyone.
Agreed.
Now here's where it gets tricky. I have made an agreement to work with her, which means I may be able to pull some strings.
And do what for her?
I will not act against her directly. So, I will not act against her directly. Does not stop me from perhaps mentioning how you may act against her directly. The words you say are very important, you see.
Family is important. Where there's a chosen family of coterie ship, the ties of blood and all the piety that comes with it. Family is important. And unbeknownst to every kindred that is aware of the Hakata's influences in the city, that is aware of the Shadow Kings, that is aware of the many internecine strifes between the Toreador of the city or any of the other hundreds of small battles waged on a nightly basis. It comes down to family. It always has. Each instance along the way that the coterie, together and separately, has faced has always come down to the value of family, and that there is nothing worse than when blood fights blood. When two halves of a thing are turned against itself, there are no winners to be held. When two halves of a thing try to divide themselves into separate entities, there is never any positive outcome for them or the world around them. And despite all of the inherent risks laid out before the coterie, the thing that shows most clearly, most succinctly in this moment is that all of this, from the Shadow Kings to their missing persons, which started the very foundations of every action since, boils down to the war between families, amongst themselves and against their peers. With that thought in mind, it's very hard to not think of Dizzy's brother. With that thought in mind, it's very hard not to think of Hestia's parallel universe son, which believes her to be a sibling. With that thought in mind, it is very difficult to not remember all of the predations carried out by the dread pirate on his family line. With all of those considerations, it is very hard to not think of Lucio's sister, or Arsenio, or Blakeney. And with all those considerations in mind, specifically for Miriam, it is very hard to not think of the wide garden of the Bahari spread across the city. And why does the name of the Voivod of the North keep coming up?
So what is it do you think we can bring to bear against her?
We need to figure out where she is going to ground, where they feel the safest, how best to get at that point, and how to make sure that her name stays out of it, but that it doesn't automatically come back and bite us in the ass either. I mean, granted, we have very little to lose at this point, but there are still some things that have yet burned to the ground that I would like to keep.
You bring up an interesting point. Give me one moment. And with that, she will get up and go through the stuff that she asked Silvio to bring. She will pull out a stone. As soon as I can blow up the page so I can read it here. She will open her wrist and pour it on the stone and write out the name Maria or Marie Castiglione. And if the individual still exists as a ghost, their location becomes clear to the vampire.
It is absolutely amazing the level of litigiousness that spirits and souls engage in. Everyone this side of the equation between living and dead believe in the letter of the law, but then you'll also more commonly hear the spirit of the law. And the two have a similar aim, but there's a difference there. There is a horrible, horrible difference there. And this letter of the law, the letter of the ritual, spells out a thing very clearly. The spirit of the thing, however, is another matter entirely. And it comes down to identity. It comes down to the truth of a person's essence, who they believe themselves to be, what they know themselves to be, and what they hope themselves to be, make up what they are. And that name has never quite existed the way that you believe it to exist. And it's amazing because you've seen what Mama Cass looked like. You know what her mortal seeming was. And you know that they exist. Why are you picking up their essence on the eastern seaboard? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Or does it? His sister, is she still alive or did she kill her?
That's just up the way for a drink. It is 9 after the hour. Let's all take a quick second and grab some refreshments and return at 19 after. Sorry about the delay, folks. Got a little held up. But
Oh, it's all good.
all in all, welcome back. So, with the night drawing to a close, the conversations had, the pre-planning of deals made, what is it that the coterie might do? There are still just enough hours left in the night to put them all in mortal dread.
Well, Hesty had missed it, but I'd asked about whether Mama Cass had killed her sister or not.
No. Due to my direct intervention, which I don't know whether Mama Cass knows or not now, but no, her sister was spared and very wisely has made a ghost of himself. I don't even directly speak with them anymore. It's all very clandestine. I know she's still alive.
You may be wrong on that.
Storyteller. The last time I spoke with sister, they were still using the code that we knew, right?
Mm-hmm. They were still using the language of flowers, or someone was still using the language of flowers to notify you that they are still safe. And no, it's no accident with the choice of language.
That someone is still. Now that Sophia has brought that up, it's got her very much worried. And she just kind of looks, how would we know for sure?
Well, we would not, but when I did this ritual to find out where Mama Cass, Marie Castiglione might be, she shows up very far away from me. Like farther than she could travel, easily. Which leads me to believe that either she has some sort of misdirection thing attached to herself, or perhaps she is not who she says she is.
Would there be a way for Hestia to have mistaken which twin it was, or they didn't look enough alike for that to be a thing they were able to pull off, right?
What do you mean? They were and are twins. The only difference is the lives lived since then, and you haven't seen the sister in how many years? Visibly, in person, seeing the sister? And it's not like women are known to dye their hair or otherwise affect what would be a superficial change for those that know.
It is possible, given the results I've got here, however. It just popped in my mind, given how deep and in the web has gone so far. Perhaps Mama Castiglione is not Marie Castiglione at all. Perhaps she is her sister.
And we open our gaze to a moment held roughly, for us, the players, a year and a few months from this very moment. Hestia reliving a past incident when they risked themselves to save Daria Ignacia Tori Castiglione from the clutches of Wojciech Castiglione. And the words that were exchanged between them, I don't know how to thank you. I don't know how to repay your kindness. But whatever it takes, I will make sure that Wojciech suffers for what he's done to me and what he's done to my sister.
Hestia sits like the legs can't hold her anymore. And face is kind of crestfallen. And it's weird because she should be mad. But she can't be at the same time because how was she to know?
You look as if perhaps that checks out for you.
Played me for a fucking fool. Well, actually, not just me. Somebody I care very deeply about who sent me to save this sister named Daria and asked me to get them to safety. And I did so under the guise that they were being chased by their evil twin and her murderous husband. And the whole while, it was the other way around.
There's an understated and often forgotten aspect of what happens when families go to war. It's the most destructive instance ever, because no one knows you and knows your weak points like those that lay their heads under the same roof for years. No one knows what really gets under your skin like someone who sees you on a daily basis. No one knows you better how to really twist the blade like someone who lives and breathes the same air as you. And when those bonds of familial and filial respect become handcuffs, and that seething anger and rage does not dissipate, when all of those positive moments shared over the past become stones and yokes to tie you to an anchor drowning you, the endless pit of how far blood will go is infinite. There's nothing that you won't do to right and vindicate yourself. And that is what you all are in the midst of. Be it Capone's anger and vengefulness at the family which he felt turned their back on him, that allowed him to die in the most painful way possible. Whether it is the Shadow Kings, who feel that the family of kindred in the city owe them a debt to continue their immortality, or the Hakata, who war amongst themselves, family to family, against the entirety of the family, counting coup and winning prizes along the way, or whether it is two twin sisters twisted by the weight of their blood and the bonds of their marriage towards actual full-out enmity with one another. And every larger incident pertaining to the Castiglione and Torres comes due from Lucio's status as a bastard of a loving family, not truly ever part of that loving family because of the bonds of his blood, from Hestia's unknowing accomplice with setting all of this in motion, to the unrealized ties between the Hakata and the Chicago Samich, and how they instigated and engineered and fostered the war between the Toreador and the Bahari, leading to Arzuli being banned and blood hunted out of the city. It is a terrible thing when blood wars with blood. The toll that it takes and the portions of the soul that it corrupts is impossible to escape. And the coterie, each and every member, realizes that this is a family issue. Whether it's Lucio's family still hanging in the balance, his sisters, his cousin, his ancestors, whether it is the family of the kindred who are now at war with themselves, and no matter which way the results land, everyone loses something. Or whether it is the Samij who have unerringly operated in the shadows of all of this war, profiting this entire time, playing their games against one another, using everyone else's feelings and enmity towards their own individual goals, be it the Voivod of the South seeking control of the southern regions, or the Voivod of the North operating and acting as a beneficial artisan at the beck and call of others, gaining their secrets, jotting them down in a little grimoire with spells and hidden things that are, while not as directly damaging as the lodestone in their possession, equally damning. And the truth of all those things sits there, unmasked and bare. It is hard to not consider that every kindred living, existing, not staked in the heart and stored in some cold storage, is a threat to every facet of the world around them, either purposefully or incidentally. And Silvio refills everyone's glass, just as silently as he has come and gone this entire time.
So now you understand what it is like to grow up in the Hakata. Or at least see that I am not alone.
I do see that you're not alone, and I also see that's probably why Mama Cass didn't give two fucks about giving up Ignacio to us, because it wasn't really her son the whole time.
That does check out.
It was Daria or whoever else's son, or which one ever had him, is not any longer there.
It's a shame I do not have anything with which to call the real Mama Cass here. She could be useful, and I'm sure she has a taste for revenge.
Do I have... I know I normally would keep like the postcards on me, but I think they're all at the Haven, right? I wouldn't have brought them with me.
No, you didn't have time to pack cherished mementos of such small weight, but just Just the important stuff. Just your notes, your information gathered that was in the hands of Ignacio, in his care and consideration.
Sophia, that ritual you did to find Marie, could you use it to find Daria instead?
I could try. If that is her name. Do you have her full name?
Hestia would repeat the name that she knows.
Daria Ignacia Torre Castiglio.
I will repeat the ritual with a new name. And I will rouse and roll for that.
Yes, let's tempt fate.
I think there's going to be some willpower on that. Jeez. There we go.
There's always a red button. All of the memes and all of the common understanding as to what a red button is. It's the button you shouldn't push. But it's so tempting and so easily pushed that you need to push it to find out what happens. What does it do? Not once, not twice even, but 3 times in a very small window of opportunity. The fabric between this world and all of the worlds in between has been stroked, poked, probed, and otherwise manipulated. There's a cost of doing business. That cost is you know immediately and instantly where Daria is, where Mama Cass, or at least the believed Mama Cass of the last several decades, actually is in the city. She is close enough to be a threat and far away enough that it would be a challenge to get to, but still possible and viable. The problem with that, as every burgeoning internet user learned the hard way, the only way out creates an opening in. Everything you connect with connects with you. And for a brief, shimmering moment, you connect with Daria. You connect with all of the souls milling about Daria. You connect with Mama Hugo in a way that no dead or living thing should ever connect with someone so twisted with enmity. And you realize that she knows. And on that thought of yes, she knows, and thank you all for a lovely session, and I look forward to seeing you all next week because fan meet feces, feces meet the coterie. Good night, everybody.
Night.